If you're a teenage daughter of a GM executive,
yes,
this is the car for you.
Hey everyone, this is Christopher Brower here with Daily Motor, and since Charlie is busy getting a first look at the new Honda Civic Type R in Los Angeles today, that leaves only me to introduce you to our car this week, a 2022 Cadillac XT4. This is going to be my raw first impressions. This will just be a short little intro to our full review. And, well, I've got to say, I've never really been up close to one of these. I've never sat in one, and I've never driven one. So this will be a very, very raw first impression. This is, well, it's a white car. It's got black wheels. And if we open up the door, we can see that we have a pretty nice tan, saddle, cognac, whatever you want to call it. In fact, why don't we view the window sticker together and go over some of the options on this 2022 Cadillac XT4 all-wheel drive sport. All right, so let's see. Our exterior color is crystal white tri-coat. Interior trim, jet black. Now, I don't know about you guys, but that does not look jet black to me. I would probably argue against that. Anyways, let's see what sort of options we have here. We've got wheels, comfort package. $14,000 in options on this otherwise $41,000 vehicle. The sticker on this car is 57 grand. Okay. Well, why don't we take a look around this thing? Let's fire it up. Of course, GM being very creative with the powertrain on this. It is a 2-liter turbo paired to a 9-speed automatic. And power sent to all 4 wheels, except currently it's saying it's in 2-wheel drive mode. Okay, you can put it into all-wheel drive. Tour, all-wheel drive, sport, and off-road. That's interesting. Okay, I guess we'll drive in tour. That must just send power to the front wheels. Okay. As you can see, I've got my phone in here. Nice little grippy spot for it. There's a King Ranch vibe to this leather in the way that it's not a constant color. I don't know how well that translates to being on camera on the GoPro, but the leather is not a solid color. It's almost like they were trying to get it to be very like raw looking. Maybe it was supposed to be jet black and then they forgot to put the black coating on it. That would be such a GM moment. We've got leather on our dash with some color-matched brown stitching. That's pretty neat. The angle of that infotainment is really something. I'd imagine that would glare pretty bad during the day. I guess we'll find out when we're driving it during the daytime. It is now the evening that this is being recorded. Let's hop in the back seat real quick before we take it for a drive. Okay, sit behind myself here. All right, well, got a decent amount of room back here, but not the most. Take a look up front. Here's our side profile. If you excuse this green Escape here, we can take a look at the back of the car. Let's take it for a short drive and just see what it's like under first impressions. Ooh, I see immediately we have a heads-up display adjuster. I like when companies put controls for the heads-up display just right here as physical controls instead of having to go through the infotainment to find it. That is usually pretty frustrating. Parking brake. Yes. You know, I'll admit it. I like where Cadillac puts their parking brakes. It's the same location you get on manual transmission Cadillacs like the CT4 and CT5 Blackwing. Lord. Okay, so the throttle tuning is very Volkswagen Atlas-like in the way where you give it 5% throttle and it lurches like crazy. Remember also, we are in tour mode, so we're in 2-wheel drive. That's a camera. Nice. I'm sure we've got app projections. Yep, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. That was like a quarter throttle, and it's just so anxious to get moving. We'll just do a short little loop here. Lord. Okay. This is tour mode. Why are you being so... Oh, classic cars. Hello. I'll wait for our fellow GM SUV. Hello. As expected. Half throttle, it's lighting up the front wheels. Okay. God, it's pretty quick. Well, why don't we try out sport mode if it's that aggressive in tour? Lord. Okay, let's try sport. Oh, state cop. It's okay, we're in all-wheel drive now, so we won't make any tire screeching noises. I don't understand why manufacturers make throttle tuning so aggressive in SUVs like this, because someone's grandma that's buying this Cadillac XT4 does not want to peel out. She's never going to take this out of tour mode, okay? And it's still peeling out in all-wheel drive, okay. So the second half of the accelerator pedal does absolutely nothing. If you're half throttle, you're pretty much floored. Sounds like pretty much every other 2-liter turbo. I don't know where that state cop went. I hope he went straight. Got steering wheel mounted paddle shifters to manually shift our 9-speed automatic. Okay, I'll let you pull some good downshifts. Ooh, it'll hit rev limiter too. That's kind of neat. Let's go back into drive. Let's try out all-wheel drive mode that isn't sport. See how that feels. I don't understand the need for that. It's kind of strange to me that you can lock this into either front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. I have never seen another car in this segment not just be full-time all-wheel drive. It's very strange. Coming into oversteer here. In case that state cop is parked up here, which sometimes they like to, we'll keep it at about 60 miles per hour, but I'm also going to turn the fan up so we don't overheat the GoPro. Alright, well, overall first impressions, it's not as lazy as I thought it was going to be. The ride is certainly very soft. The steering's pretty light. You can see we've got quite a bit of body roll. But as far as throttle response goes, it's obnoxious. The 9-speed is pretty eager to be going as well, so I'm curious to see what living with this car is going to be like, and if the throttle tuning is going to be that much of a headache trying to actually just drive this car smoothly. Honestly, being in this all-wheel drive non-sport setting seems to help a little bit. Kind of numbs the throttle response down. We need like a comfort mode. You'd think tour mode would be comfort, but we need Maybach mode in this thing to just calm it down a little bit. Always appreciate a camera rear view mirror. Let's test out the visors against the sun. Ooh, that seems to be a proper visor. Once we stop here, we'll do the full visor test. Okay, nice lighting there on our mirror. Moment of truth. Aha! It pulls out, and yeah, no, that's actually a really good visor. Let's take a look at our pano roof. Okay. Black headliner, always nice. Makes the cabin feel more luxurious. That opens pretty quickly. Let's see how fast it closes. How do you... Oh, there we go. Don't want to miss my green light. Okay. Pano roof, there it is. A man is jamming out in his Nissan Versa. Much chaos today on the little mini loop there. Anyways, that's going to wrap up the first part of this video. So the next time you see us in this CT4, I should have Charlie with me. Or Charlie will actually probably be driving and I'll be sat over there. But I want to do one last little walk around actually before we cut. I suppose Charlie will be editing this. So Charlie, I guess you can decide if you want to put this last part in or not. Just because I was backed in so...
Chris.
Yeah.
350T.
Yes. Isn't that the torque?
That is the torque in Newton meters.
Because it doesn't have... That's not pound feet. There's
Correct.
No way.
Right. That is torque in Newton meters.
And then what's the T with the... Is that turbo?
I assume turbo.
So 350 Newton meters of torque turbo.
Yes.
It's a very peculiar badge to put on the back of a car.
I want to go to every single XT4 owner and ask them what the number on the back right of their car means.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I wonder if your mother would care when she's shopping for her new NX what the torque figure in Newton meters.
In Newton meters. No, they probably think that's how much horsepower it is.
It's really the stupidest thing I've ever seen put on a car from a manufacturer, from the factory, because
they're trying to be unique.
Well, you don't even know. Torque means nothing if you don't know the RPM at which it's being made. You could have a diesel pickup truck with much more torque than a Ferrari, but the Ferrari is going to be much more exciting to drive.
There should be a sub badge at the bottom and a sticker as a dealer add-on as an accessory at 4,000 RPM.
Yes, that would be much more useful. At least it would provide useful information at that point. It's like, great, my car. You know how many electric vehicles you could have and just put that number on
800,
there.
right?
Yeah, and be like, okay, it makes 800 pound-feet of torque across the board. Either way, it's this is a fine car.
Yeah. So you've spent
time
in this. I spent time in this.
Yeah.
And I was
like doing time, like going to prison, essentially.
I suppose. I was looking forward to you spending time in this because I'm still in that sort of phase where I like to feel validated about my car opinions from either
we all do.
You or the Topher. So
yeah.
I'm just curious to hear your thoughts about everything.
Part of me wishes it were worse because then it could be like,
that's a good point.
This is a really bad car.
It's not bad enough to like complain about.
I know.
But it's not good.
I feel petty complaining about it.
Yeah.
Because they're not really complaints. It's general undesirability.
Yeah.
Is this car.
Yeah.
The paint's cool. That's nice.
I always love a good pearl white.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks really nice.
It's really blinding me right now. But
I don't care for the black wheels. I know some people
I never
would.
really care for black wheels, to be honest.
No. It looks fine, I guess.
I feel like black wheels are very much a teenager thing.
Yeah, which is interesting because I don't think there's a single teenager on the face of the earth who wants this car.
No, unless it's a spoiled girl that gets it from her parents for like graduation.
Yeah, maybe. And she's been like Stockholm syndromed into thinking GMs make for good cars.
Yeah, because her dad works for GM and has for 40 years.
So if you're a teenage daughter of a GM executive,
yes, this
is the car for you.
I'm just thinking like all of the poor old women that are going to get scammed into buying these.
But that's the thing. It's not. You're right. They will get scammed into buying it, but they won't be
scammed into leasing it.
You're right.
Yeah.
They won't be horrible off. Although they will get into an accident because they'll be told it's all-wheel drive.
Oh, and then they'll leave it in tour mode.
They won't press the button to put it in all-wheel drive. Chris, did you happen to notice that in your first review, or do we need to tell the viewers about it?
I did notice it, and I talked about it.
Okay.
But I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you put it in all-wheel drive, it stays in all-wheel drive every time you start it.
Oh, well, let's test that.
Yeah.
Which means then they're getting worse fuel economy.
Yeah.
So, in other words, you have to choose between...
Well, Miss Betty, who's 76 years old, and, you know, she doesn't want to get in here and press her drive mode button.
At least you can press the fan speed button. I do appreciate this big
array
of climate control.
That's good.
Although, if for some reason these buttons aren't good enough for you, you have the screen as well.
Oh. What about these buttons?
You know, that's an interesting feature. It's
placebo.
It's to teach you delayed gratification in life. That yes, you could have heated and cooled seats, but you know what would be better than having them now? Teaching yourself to wait and getting them maybe in a year or so by going back to your dealer.
Here, let me turn your heated seat on for you.
Oh, well, I'm glad you didn't, because it's actually a little warm out, and if you were to be heating my seat, I'd be disappointed.
Yeah, if Nathan was in the car, he'd be very disappointed because he wouldn't be able to turn your heated seat on while you're driving.
Yeah, he would be cooled seat, you mean?
No, heated seat.
He likes his cooled seats.
No, he likes to turn that on.
Turn other people's heated seats on.
Yeah,
Yes,
in the heated seat game.
You're right.
So, let's see, you've got it in two-wheel drive now, so put it in all-wheel drive and then shut the car off.
Okay, well, I'm going to drive about 5 feet first and then shut the car off.
I'm surprised you didn't peel out.
Yeah, you know, I almost did a few times in this car.
Okay.
The amount of times this vehicle's honked at me for various reasons has been really frustrating.
I had some good auto braking scenarios. Yep, see? All-wheel drive.
There we go, all-wheel drive. Okay, so, yeah, and then Betty Ann will drive around and wonder why she's not getting the fuel economy. Actually, she won't, because instead she'll have the screen on this, which shows you the digital speed right below the digital speed.
Yep. Next to the analog speed.
Next to the analog speed, also next to the speed limit display, which is also right below the other speed limit display. It's a mishmash of ideas, and that is how GM designs vehicles, is by committee. They get a committee of people in, and everyone goes, it would be good for this car to have this, and it would be good for this car to have that. And they just kind of do it, but it's more like they're just checking boxes rather than creating a holistic product. I was thinking this morning about what we would talk about in this review and kind of what my ethos would be. I was thinking back a week ago to getting into Q3 at the same time, Monday morning, coming into the office.
Right.
And thinking to myself, I didn't really care for the Q3. I'm not the target demo. But I respected it and appreciated it, as we said, as a car that just made life simple.
Yeah.
By being just a nice way to move my bottom from point A to point B.
Mm-hmm. All
the materials, the controls, everything, they felt nice, made sense, intuitive, good to use. It's almost like I forgot I was in the car, which for a lot of people is a good thing.
Yeah.
That never happened with this car. Between the inconsistent throttle control, the noises of the engine, the features that don't quite work, I was always like, I guess we'll take the Cadillac.
The angle of the infotainment screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had oh yeah, no, that's...
Sorry, that was quarter throttle.
Yeah. I took Emily out in this earlier, this week, and I was like, you know, I was taking out from lights and stuff. She's like, why are you driving so fast? I'm like, I'm literally applying quarter throttle and it's peeling out in tour mode.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh. Yeah.
I had to explain to Alyssa the concept of like how your gas pedal in newer cars with electronic throttle control, 50% doesn't mean 50%, it means whatever they decided.
Whatever it's
should be. And I'll try to show this to you viewers. I'm gonna go 50% throttle. And now I'm gonna floor it. Ready?
No difference.
Barely any difference whatsoever.
There's literally no difference from half throttle to flooring it in this car.
I think you get about 80% power at 20% throttle.
Yeah.
80% of that 350 Newton meters of torque.
And if you're a bit old and you don't really, control your right foot that well anymore,
it could get messy.
It's a little bit alarming.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Speaking of alarming, I had a couple of instances where auto braking intervened when I wouldn't have desired it to.
Tell us about that.
So I was pulling into my driveway at like 5 miles per hour, pulling up, and like halfway into the driveway, full emergency stop on the brakes.
Oof. Jarring.
Yeah. So that scared the crap out of me.
And that happened twice, right?
Yep. And then the second time, I was backing into a parking space, just at a normal speed, was watching the backup camera, was wanting to get right up to the curb, but when I was about 2 feet from the curb, full emergency stop.
Well, that's probably just a feature. That's probably like a maintenance thing to just ensure that you know that your car has those features.
Make sure you're awake also, right?
Yeah. Make sure you're awake. It's like, hey, just letting you know, you might not have heated and cooled seats, but you do have automated emergency braking. Mm-hmm. Very important.
Yeah.
I do like a lot of the individual features of this car. I like the camera mirror. Uh-huh. The sunroof works well. I like having two individual controls, one for opening it and one for just the slider.
Yeah, the visors move in
The visors move.
Yeah,
they work well. The volume control I like, although it's a bit confusing when you're first using the touchscreen. You're like, how do I change the volume? But once you learn that you have to exercise your arm a little bit.
I don't mind volume knobs that are in this.
No, I don't either. And this kind of works okay. One thing that does frustrate me, and I mentioned this in the sound test, is when you're driving, and it's not going to show up right now, you can't change your folders in your USB drive. And I know that's for a minority sect of people.
It's for Charlie when he does the sound system.
Exactly. Yeah. But anyone who uses a USB drive to play music, when you're on the highway, it's like, well, I hope you're happy with the folder you've chosen before you took off, because that's all you're getting.
That's all you're getting.
Yep. I don't love the fact, this is super petty, but I don't love the fact there's a seam right where your elbow goes.
No, that's legitimate, because elbow comfort is important. Wow, that's actually really hard.
Yeah, it's hard.
Nice on the door panel.
It's unpleasant. Yeah. What else?
There's a place to put your sunglasses because it's American.
I do appreciate that. I know some people don't care, but I do. Alyssa doesn't like this. She's like, it's not a good place for sunglasses. I'm like, Alyssa, that's literally the point of it. She's like, I can't even remember what her justification was for not liking it.
Girls always have funny reasons for things like that.
Yes. There's wood grain, although you can't usually see it.
I hate shiny wood grain.
I don't mind it.
No, I don't like the shiny wood grain. It needs to be matte, or it needs to be open pore or something. He says this is very 1990s to me.
He says right after saying how women have weird reasons for not liking things.
Never said I didn't either.
Just preference.
All the door panels match.
Do you appreciate that there is leather on the dash?
Yes, I do, and I appreciate that the stitching matches the upholstery.
Yeah. It's not a bad car. It's just got little annoyances, and then you plop in that $57,000 price, and then it's like, get a Genesis.
Yes, or a Lexus NX. As equipped, I feel like this should be like a $45,000 vehicle.
Well, and you mentioned to me when you gave me the vehicle this week that a lot of the options you could do without.
Well, I don't know that you could do without all the options.
Oh, well, here, Chris, this is why it slammed on the brakes for you, because it's enhanced automatic emergency braking. Enhanced means it just happens randomly.
Oh, okay.
In GM speak.
Yeah, you got it. Okay. Keeps you on the edge of your seat, I guess.
Yep. So the tech pack gives you an air ionizer, this power steering column, and the gauge cluster, and the head-up display, and the wireless phone charging. I think that's kind of important for
wireless phone charging.
Yeah, right here.
Oh.
You tuck it in. That white paint is $1,200.
Don't need that. Surprisingly
good 5-star safety rating, and only 2 4-star safety ratings.
So that averages to a 5-star, obviously.
Of course. Yep. It's kind of insulting that GM only gives you $50 back for the fact that you don't have
$50.
The heated and cooled seats.
Wow. Because it's temporary.
Yeah, I guess.
I suppose.
Most of these are fairly important options.
And that was my point.
Okay, maybe I misinterpreted
that.
Yeah,
my point was that it has 16,000 in options, 14,000, whatever, of options that should be standard, and the whole entire car should be cheaper.
Yeah, good point.
That's what I meant.
I guess the only thing is you're paying $2,000 for the 20-inch gloss black wheels.
Yeah.
You could save $2,000 there, but it's not much. So, all right, if you are the wife, grandmother, mother, or daughter of a GM executive, then this is an okay car for you. Also, if you're old, it might be an okay car for you. But I'm sorry, Cadillac, it's not impressive.
Also, did you notice the ride is floaty yet crashy?
You said that really well, because I think I'm not the best suspension tuner, but I think someone really good in the game would say there's too much not enough compression, too much rebound, because it floats down really hard but then slams itself back.
Yes.
Yeah. And you're right. You don't notice it for a little while, and then you go over some bumps and you're like, "Oh my gosh."
Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah, and it was a big eye-opener to me because we're also driving a Lexus this week, and a Lexus IS, a car.
Yeah. And
I drove this first a week ago today, and then I got in the Lexus, and I was like, okay, so this is how a car is supposed to ride.
Yes.
You know?
So, DM top tip: if you think you want a Cadillac XT4, buy a Lexus IS instead.
That's right. It's $4,000 cheaper.
There you go.
Yeah.
So thank you all so much for watching. We have plenty of other videos on the XT4 if you'd like to see elements of the sound system, infotainment, or the highway fuel economy test, in which it didn't do fantastic.
I've already forgot what it got.
Like 31,
I told you what it got. Yeah, 31, 32.
Yeah. And we'll see you on the next one. We're Charlie and Chris with Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.